How's it going, everyone? This is Soul Singed here, and welcome to the second episode in the Can This Rapper Make a Comeback series. The series where I go over a rapper who was once relevant, who has fallen off, and I will basically just be going over their career, how they blew up, what caused them to fall off, and if they can or cannot make a comeback. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about Kid Buu. No, not that Kid Buu. Yeah, that one.
Remember that bitch in some my calls, now she hitting my phone cause I'm on. She hitting my phone cause I'm on. Know that my money alone. All of my bad life alone. Smoking on getting shit strong.
So Kid Buu originally blew up back in 2018 for a few different things, and music wasn't really one of them. And I'll get to that in a second. But basically, he appeared to be a somewhat poppin' rapper. He had a few songs that were kind of bubbling up, got a Ski Master Slump God feature, and looked to be a rapper who was slowly on the come up. He was claiming he was this 23-year-old up-and-coming rapper. And what really blew him up is when he went and did an interview where he claimed he was a second-generation clone that was cloned in a cloning facility in Canada.
I was cloned by Clonate in Canada. My model number is 0112568, if anyone wants to see the registration in Clonate.
Yeah, after this situation, a lot of people are talking about him because there are some people who figured he was just clout chasing, and then there are some people who were kind of believing him because of the very serious tone that he was taking. He wasn't really acting like it was a joke or anything. He was being very serious about it, and that got some people questioning things. And of course, this being the modern internet age, people went and dug up his past and found some pretty disturbing things. This man, going by the name of Kid Buu, was not 23. He was actually 30. He was almost a decade older than he claimed to be, and he had been into prison, or I don't know about being imprisoned, but he was arrested and charged with child abuse and armed robbery. And he also has a 12-year-old daughter who's probably 14 or 15 at this point, because that was back in 2018. But when people found this out, they found out that he not only had a child that he never mentions, but he had a child abuse charge. And at the time, a lot of people thought that he abused his child, which wasn't the case. See, what actually happened was, at the time, his girlfriend was underage, and they got into a disagreement over a check, and he basically beat his underage girlfriend. Which really isn't that much better. That's almost worse, because first of all, you're dating someone under the age, and I'm assuming Kid Buu is over age at this point. Second of all, you're beating your underage girlfriend while you have a child, and then you threatened to kill the police officers if she called them. So this is why Kid Buu came up with the clone story, and for a while he was seriously trying to push it as fact. He even went as far as to go on Instagram Live and prove that his clone was real, even though the video is clearly faked.
What y'all gotta say now? You see him. We got the same tattoos, same hair, same genetic structure. Look at my clone. Go ahead.
Now, first of all, these types of videos are very easy to fake, and you can look up how he did this. It's really simple. But the one thing I want to mention is, if that really was a clone of Kid Buu, why does he have the exact same hair? Why does he have the tattoos? And why does he have the same nose as Kid Buu? Because if you look up a mugshot of Kid Buu when he got arrested, his nose is different. I mean, you can look at the dude and see he's got a botched up nose job. And plastic surgery, dyed hair, and tattoos are not genetic. So if that really is Kid Buu's clone, his clone would not have the tattoos unless he chose to get them, wouldn't have the same hair unless the clone chose to get the same styled hair, and the clone would have Kid Buu's original nose, not his current plastic surgery nose job. Now, if his clone would have looked like the same guy from the mugshot, that would have been a little bit different. And then Kid Buu would pretty much fall off into irrelevancy pretty quickly, and he was kind of dead for a while. Then he came back into relevancy when he claimed Trippie Redd stole his song I Try.
If you showing any unreleased music to Trippie Redd, be very careful that if that song is hot, that this nigga might just take this shit and upload himself to his album. I'm talking straight facts. It happened to me. I showed him a song back in April on my birthday that I want him to be on my album, my single. He called me back singing it, telling me not to drop it, that he was gonna drop a verse, woo woo woo. The nigga went ghost on me, his album drops, and then I see this shit.
Yeah, so Kid Buu basically showed that Trippie Redd had a song called I Try that was on his exclamation mark album, and Kid Buu proved that his song was made before Trippie Redd's exclamation mark album was released. Which, first of all, isn't super solid because artists are known to make songs months, even years before they release them. But basically, Kid Buu said that he made this song I Try, showed it to Trippie Redd. Trippie Redd wanted to do a verse on it, then ghosted him, stole the song, released it as his own. Then, Trippie Redd came out, proved that his beat was made back in 2018, close to a year before Kid Buu's version, and claimed that Kid Buu wanted to feature on a Trippie Redd song, and Trippie Redd was going to let him feature on I Try. But Trippie Redd said that Kid Buu's verse was so trash that he kicked him off the song. So instead of making his own version as kind of a way to diss Trippie Redd, saying like, oh yeah, he said I was so trash, well boom, I made my own version, he lies and tries to claim that Trippie Redd stole the song from him. And then he would release his own album, Revenge of the Clones or whatever, and he had one song from that project that's currently sitting at 1 million views on YouTube, which that's one thing I need to mention real quick. It's hard to really trust Kid Buu's views because, well, he buys views. It's pretty obvious that most of his following is bots. And even his ex-girlfriend basically said, oh yeah, he just wastes all his money botting all his social medias to make himself look like he's bigger than he really is, and pays for all his promo, and wastes all his money to look like he's some rich, successful rapper when he really isn't. He is the ultimate clout-chasing capper. But yeah, after the Trippie Redd situation, his relevancy just tanked. And the main reason is because he's a huge piece of shit who was never really relevant to begin with. He just kept clout chasing and putting these insane stories in over the music, and that 99% of the time fails. And plus, add on top of it the fact that he's just a terrible human being who not only abused his girlfriend and refuses to acknowledge his child, he lied about it. Instead of being a man and owning up to what he did, he lied about it. He came up with the whole clone story to try and to run from his past, instead of owning up to it. To this day, he has never actually apologized. I think the closest he said is, okay, yeah, well, whatever happened, it's in the past. Which is not an apology. And now we can talk about his music. That's another big reason why Kid Buu fell off. Because Kid Buu's music is not good. Honestly, Kid Buu does not exist as an artist. All he does is copy other rappers. Now, when I say that, I don't mean like a Cochise situation where Cochise is a copy of Playboi Carti, or a Lil Keed situation where Lil Keed is a copy of Young Thug. Every song Kid Buu copies a different rapper. One song he sounds like Ski Mask the Slump God. One song he sounds like Trippie Redd. One song he sounds like Lil Uzi Vert. His biggest song, Death to SoundCloud, is basically a carbon copy of Smoke Perp and XXXTentacion. So you can't even really listen to his music because he's just copying other rappers, and he's always worse than who he's copying. Kid Buu's not even the Walmart version of who he's copying. He's the shady Amazon knockoff. You know, the one that you buy that looks completely different than the picture and breaks within 2 minutes of opening it, and probably has lead paint and Lord knows what else. Yeah, that's Kid Buu compared to who he's copying. He never sounds as good as who he's copying. And on a quick side note about the whole clone rapper things, the reason why 90% of these clone rappers have such a short lifespan is because they're so easily replaceable and so disposable. Because if there's another artist making the exact same music, if artist A quits making music, well, all their fans can go and listen to artist B because they're making the exact same style of music, leaving artist A in the dust. That is Kid Buu. Except with Kid Buu, he is worse than the artist he's copying, so there's no reason to listen to his music in the first place, when you can get the exact same thing from other rappers, but way better. And then the fact that he never really blew up for his music. No one ever really talked about his music, and almost every time when an artist does this, it fails miserably. Look at Orn, for example. He's a rapper who blew up a while back after going on Dr. Phil claiming to be a cyborg sent from the year 2050 to save humanity. His music, he's not really blowing up as an artist because everyone's like, oh, it's that weird dude who claims to be a cyborg. Oh, he makes music? Okay, whatever. People are only interested in your personality and not your music, and once the whole fad of your little gimmick wears off, people move on. That's why so many of these gimmick artists and so many of these clone artists fail, because they're so easily replaceable. Once the trend wears off, you're done. Once you take a little break from music, people find another artist making the exact same type of music, you're done. Kid Buu, his biggest song is Death to SoundCloud. It currently has 11 million views on WorldStar Hip Hop. Kid Buu's monthly listeners on Spotify are just below 50,000 monthly listeners. That's pretty bad, comparing someone who was getting talked about a lot. And he went from having a song with 11 million views, and now he can't even get to 50K on most of his music videos. It's like Kid Buu was so down bad that he tried to turn his YouTube channel into one of those paid promo channels, but then backed out of it and made it back his own channel. He also dropped a 50-track album on SoundCloud that every single track on the project was absolute garbage. And he has released a shorter version of the album on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, the regular platforms. And they've gotten very little attention. And what's even worse is Kid Buu doesn't even have a core fan base. See, Kid Buu should at least be getting 100K organic views on his songs compared to how relevant he was. But most of his videos barely get 20K. They'll get 20 and 30K. Barely can get to 50K. And most of the comments are negative. See, most of your rappers that were hated and fell off still have core fan bases. If you go to Lil Xan's music video, who Lil Xan is one of the most hated rappers, most of the comments are positive. Lil Xan has that core fan base that is still going to support him. Kid Buu doesn't even have that. Go to his most recent music video, most of the comments are pretty negative, and it has 800 likes and 700 dislikes. So the like to dislike ratio is very terrible on his videos too. So his core fan base is probably not even maybe 1,000 people, because most of those views are just people going to check out to see what he's been up to and to hate on him. So yeah, that just about covers why he fell off. And now it's time to answer the question: can Kid Buu make a comeback? No. No, he cannot. On the Jumex video, I said yes, because Jumex is kind of moving into the pop punk genre, which is currently popping. and I said Jumex could make a comeback. Kid Buu, I don't think he can, for a few reasons. One, his music is absolute dog shit. Two, no one respects him. And three, he's a terrible person. And the only way I could see him making a comeback is if he really focused on his music and tried to hone into one organic sound. Because one big issue with Kid Buu's music is it sounds very fake. A lot of times his vocals sound very, very forced and almost like a parody because he's trying to do a style that just does not fit him at all. Now, when he does his more melodic emo sound, like on Misery Needs Company, Speed Demon, I Try, it sounds a bit more organic. And the only way I could see him making any sort of comeback or being a respected artist is if he really focuses on that melodic emo trap sound and really hone it in and really fine tune it. That's the only way I could see this man making a comeback. Basically, he'd have to pull a MGK or Ian Dior. And even then, I don't think people will respect him enough for him to be able to come back and be a relevant rapper. I just don't see it happening. And, yeah. That just about wraps up this video, and this video has gone on for a bit longer than I would have liked. But, yeah, if you liked the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and, yeah. Peace!